Hello and good evening. Welcome to Pharmacy for the People. I am Tamara McCants, and I am a pharmacist, and I am just coming to you today for our weekly dose of health information in words that you can understand so that you can take better care of yourselves and your family. So, as I mentioned last week, February is Heart Healthy Month or Healthy Heart Month. And so, I'm going to continue with that theme tonight and talk about congestive heart failure or what we call heart failure. So, the reason why this is important is because we literally cannot live without our heart. A lot of times, especially if you ever had a broken heart, you'll be like, who needs a heart? But we all need a heart. And so the role of your heart is basically to pump enough blood to deliver a continuous supply of oxygen and other nutrients to your brain and other vital organs. And this includes your lungs, your kidneys, stomach, other muscles, your eyes, every single organ and every cell, every tissue in your body depends on your heart to function. It is absolutely necessary to sustain life, your heart. And that's why again, emphasizing how important it is to keep your heart healthy. And not only does the heart pumps oxygen and nutrients to your tissues and organs, but it also removes waste products from those tissues. So what happens during congestive heart failure, or what we'll call heart failure, is that the muscle is not pumping blood as well as it could. And your heart is a muscle. It is a big muscle that pumps blood all throughout your body. So what happens is when that muscle gets weak or that muscle gets stiff or when it becomes too large, is that the blood often backs up and the fluid builds up in the lungs, making it difficult for you to breathe. So congestive heart failure is not really a disease state, but it also is just a set of symptoms that results from a damaged heart. And so a lot of times that damage is not something that happens suddenly. It usually happens over time. And it can be caused by coronary artery disease, meaning that your arteries are narrowing because of the presence of too much cholesterol or sugar. Basically, the pathway for the blood to pump is too narrow, so your heart has to beat that much harder and faster to get the blood through. Hypertension, again, is a leading cause of heart failure, and also damaged heart valves. And so how do you know that you are experiencing heart failure or that you're at risk for heart failure? We talked a lot about the risk for heart disease last week, but we know that if you are not being healthy, and let's call healthy what it is: eating right, exercising on a regular basis, getting enough getting enough sleep, reducing your stress, and also trying to stop smoking or stop smoking, then you are putting yourself at risk for heart disease. So these are some of the symptoms of heart disease that you experience over time. And again, it's usually like a slow creep unless you're one of the unfortunate people that discover you have heart disease after a heart attack. And what I'm trying to do, or by talking about this, is to make sure that that doesn't happen to you. I don't want you to realize that your heart is damaged after you're laying in a hospital bed and you have a heart attack. I want you to be able to get in front of it when you realize that you're experiencing some of these symptoms. And some of the symptoms include like shortness of breath with activity. So you used to be able to walk up the block and back without a problem. Now all of a sudden you can't breathe that well. Really, you will know that there is an issue when you're having difficulty breathing when you're laying down, or you can't exercise as much as you used to. You used to be able to run 60 minutes on a treadmill, and now you can only run 45 with being short of breath. Fatigue and weakness, feeling tired all the time, feeling weak, not feeling as strong as you used to. Arbitrary swelling in your legs and your ankles, swelling around your stomach area or your abdomen. Very rapid weight gain that comes from fluid buildup. And so these are things that can be affiliated with a lot of general disease states. Or, you may feel like, oh, I'm just out of shape, or, I'm gaining weight. But when you look at some of these things together, and even if you're experiencing one, think about whether or not your heart may not be as strong as it needs to be. Your heart may be getting larger. Your heart may be getting weaker. And so because these symptoms are not really specific, there is one test that you could get while you are at your doctor's office to determine whether or not you are actually experiencing heart failure. And that's called measuring your ejection fraction. And what that means is the capacity for your heart to pump out blood when it needs to. And so for a healthy heart, you want that ejection fraction to be 50% or higher. And for some of us, that may seem like a large number because you've been knowing that your ejection fraction is at like 20%, 30%, 40%, but that's not where it's supposed to be. And so there's other ways that you could determine whether or not you have heart failure, but it's mainly through getting a physical through your doctor's office. So one of the points that I want to emphasize is when you begin to start not feeling well, I want you to go to the doctor. Everybody should get an annual physical every single year. So don't make time for yourself to see what's going on with your body and to see if there's something going wrong or something, your heart is getting weaker, so you could get in front of it. And that's all I'm trying to encourage you to do today. So while heart failure can't be cured most of the time, it can be managed. Again, because heart failure is really like a group of symptoms. So, and it's managed mostly by taking medications and making positive lifestyle changes. And I want to talk to you all tonight about taking your medications, because a lot of us, we don't like to take medications. We are notorious for suffering in silence. And then there's some of us that anytime you can take a pill or you can take a medication, you're going to go ahead and do it instead of implementing some healthy lifestyle changes. But I want you to think about, when is it appropriate for you to take your medications? And when should you stick to your medication regimen and also combine that with a healthy lifestyle? Both can live in the same place. And so if you or somebody you love is being treated for heart failure and they look like they have a boatload of medications, then all of those medications usually has its place. And what I want you to do, and if it's you that you know that you're on 5, 6, 7 medications because you have already been diagnosed with congestive heart failure, I want to let you know that you taking those medications every day is your best chance for continuing to serve your body and to treat your body and to treat your heart so that you can live the best life that you can. And so, again, 2 things that you can do. Have a heart health lifestyle, including regular exercise. And that doesn't mean that you have to go to the gym for 90 minutes. Walking 30 minutes a day is totally fine. Dancing in front of the TV, that's good enough. Healthy eating, especially in this case, may mean to decrease your fat content, decrease the amount of meat that you eat, increase fresh vegetables and clean eating, managing your weight. Again, we can't talk enough about weight, and it is an issue for all of us, managing your weight. And a lot of times we don't even know where to start, but we can just start by just cutting back, by decreasing our portions, and also by not smoking. I think I'm going to really go into smoking because a lot of people don't know that smoking cigarettes is just as addictive, if not even more, or on par with someone that is injecting heroin every day. That's how addictive cigarette smoking is. And so a lot of times, if you do smoke, you need help to stop smoking. And we could talk about that one day in the future. But take your medication. Every medication that you're being prescribed to treat heart failure has a place. The medication helps to manage your blood pressure. It helps to decrease the fluids. It balances out the potassium because you got to get rid of the fluid. But sometimes when you get rid of the fluid, you're getting rid of the potassium. So you got to get more potassium in. And it also can widen the arteries. So all of the medication in combination is usually right when you come home from the hospital with 5-6 medications after being diagnosed with heart failure. It is usually correct. You also may have a medication to just help your heart to pump because that's just how important it is. But the medications help you to feel better. So I just want to encourage you, if you are on a lot of medications and you haven't been taking it, I want you to revisit your medication. And also, last but not least, there's a device available to help you if your heart is not pumping properly, or if it stops. You can get something that's called an ICD, or an implantable cardiac defibrillator, so that it can give your heart a shock if your heart stopped pumping. So these are all the things that are available to assist your heart if you or your loved one find themselves in a position where your heart is just not working like how it needs to work. But I do want to emphasize that a lot of times, we, especially our community, if we're on a lot of medications, you might look at it, your loved one might look at it, or you might be looking at your auntie medication like, oh, she on a whole lot of medication. She don't need to be on all that medication. Or, you yourself is like, oh, I don't need to be on all this medication. The doctor just gave me this. They're just trying to make money off of me. I'm not trying to take all these medications. I just need this one for my blood pressure. But usually your medications have a role. But there is something called de-prescribing, and there's benefits to de-prescribing. And when you're working with an informed, educated pharmacist, you can consider de-prescribing. And what de-prescribing is a planned process of reducing or stopping medications that may no longer be beneficial to you, or it can be harmful. And I just want to give a shout out to my colleague, Delon Canterbury with Geriatrics, who has been on social media trying to get us pharmacists to look at de-prescribing and educating us about how de-prescribing is just as important, or even that whole concept is something that is also beneficial to our patients. So no, not all of us is just trying to get you on all these medications, but we want to make sure that you are being treated properly and that you have the right medications for you. So if you're on a lot of medications, and when I say a lot, I'm talking about more than 3, 4, 5, 6. We have some people that's on 20 medications. I had a patient this week that she needed her prescriptions, and she was like, okay, I'm gonna come pick them up. But then she couldn't come pick them up because she was watching her granddaughter. She was like, can you deliver them to me because I need them? And I really thought about, like, man, she is a family member that is being depended upon. She's watching her granddaughter, and she needs to be kept healthy so that she can continue to help her family out and just live and be a benefit for her family. So I have 4 things that I want you to think about today. I want you to think about your grandmother that's on so many medications. I want you to think about your grandfather or your husband or your uncle or your aunt or even your brother and sister, because we are not living healthy. So we have to engage medications earlier in life than what it may seem to be. You might be 44 years old and you're on 6, 7 medications, and it's okay. So one, I want you to choose one pharmacy and get all of your medications from there. Choose one pharmacy and get all your medications from there. The second thing I want you to do is get all of your medications at the same time, because you're going to start getting frustrated when you have to make 2, 3 trips to the pharmacy. And if you're working with a good pharmacist, they will be able to help you get all of your medication, what we call synchronized, or so that you get everything all at the same time. The third thing I want you to do is ask your pharmacist for an appointment to do comprehensive medication management. This is a long-term plan that you and your pharmacist come up with, working with your prescriber, which should be a doctor or a nurse practitioner, to look at your medications and see if you need to be on everything. You may be a candidate for de-prescribing, because a lot of times the doctor overcompensates for people that are not adherent. And if you're going to more than one doctor, you are even more at risk for being on medications that you do not need to be on. So your pharmacist will be able to review all of your medications and make sure that you are supposed to be on everything. But last and definitely not least, all medications work best in conjunction with a healthy lifestyle. If you're being treated for heart failure, commit to a heart healthy lifestyle. Get enough rest, exercise regularly, eat better foods, and stay away from stress. Thank you so much for your time tonight. Talk to your pharmacist about reviewing your medications, and let's have a heart healthy 2022.